get to guest Bonnie Kaye, and I just want to read you a little bit about who she is so you can understand she is an expert in this topic, okay? I think both personally and professionally, so we'll talk about that. But she has done relationship counseling for over 30 years for more than 97,000 women, so let that sink in, who have sexually dysfunctional husbands due to homosexuality, bisexuality, transgenderism, or sexual addictions. Okay, these are guys who get involved with straight women and have relationships. If you go to her site, gayhusbands.com, you can definitely read up on that. She has been on Oprah. She has been on Sally Jessy Raphael, Phil Donahue. She has been interviewed by New York Times, New York Daily News, and by The Crystal Show, just, coming right now. So let us all welcome Bonnie Kaye and get into this amazing topic. Hello, Bonnie Kaye.
Hi, Crystal, and hi, Dre. And I do want to say that most of your listeners probably haven't heard of Phil Donahue or Sally Jessy, but they do hear about you. So that's the main thing tonight, that I'm on the Crystal Show. Exactly.
I was like, you're old school when you're on Phil and
I
Sally.
know.
Like, they're like the quintessential daytime talk show.
I know. Wow. Well, I was very young then, so, no, I'm only kidding. I wasn't that young then either, but all right.
You were on there when you were 12.
Exactly. Had a very early marriage. But thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Now,
definitely.
This is definitely a topic that, unfortunately, a lot of women, at one point or another have thought about or questioned. And I do want to ask you some questions, and I want to say this first.
Mm-hmm.
And before you get into your story, I'm attracted to alpha males, okay? And for many reasons. But one of the reasons is because I think that if a man is very masculine, then that means he's not gay. But I don't know if that's really true. What do you think, Bonnie? Is that true at all?
That's absolutely not true. And in fact, my ex-husband was a martial artist. He was a kung fu black belt, and that's what he did for a living. He taught martial arts. And I have a number of women who have husbands who are in all kinds of athletics, sports, who are very macho kinds of guys, very alpha in, their appearance. But when the reality strikes, there is no such thing as a prototype of a gay man. And that's where women go wrong. Because of the fact there are over 4 million women in this country alone in this situation. 4 million, that's a lot of women. It's not like an isolated situation, right?
Right.
That's crazy.
And the problem is, like, if you see the comedians on television who put on that, gay kind of an act, I mean, that's our vision of what gay is, and that's what I think you're talking about, Crystal, that, we look at the guy who does a little feminine and he talks funny and he swishes from side to side. Those are the kinds of guys who are not going to be sitting and marrying you, trust me. Those are gay men who are gay. But it's the ones that marry us that, that we can't tell, and that's the problem. I would say honestly speaking, about 98% of women have no clue when they get married.
Oh, jeez. Well, tell us about your experience and what made you decide to make this, your life work.
I was in this situation myself back in the late 1970s, early 1980s when I got married. It wasn't my first marriage, and, I was younger back then, as I mentioned. I was a very strong woman at that time, and people have a hard time understanding this. I was very strong. I was a political activist back in the 70s, which was probably before both of you were born. But the thing is, back in those days, people used to stand up and fight for all kinds of causes, civil rights, women's rights. And, you had the whole Vietnam scene and the campus scene. And quite frankly, Crystal, I'm very nice now, but I was a militant back then. So I was a strong woman breaking through the barricades, and getting arrested all the time. So I needed a man. Yeah, that was me. But I needed a man who could be strong and somebody who I could lean on. And when I met my ex-husband, he seemed very strong. He was tall. He was handsome. He reminded me of Sylvester Stallone at that time. And he volunteered to, he was, really very handsome and strong. That's what I needed in a man. And that was my mistake. I took his strength. It wasn't strength, it was bullying. And that's what a lot of these guys do. In all fairness to gay men who get married, because I do want to make this statement first, most of them, when they marry us, almost in every case, they love their wives. It's not like they're trying to fool us or to trick us. They don't want to be gay. They know they have attractions to men. They're hoping that by loving a woman enough, those attractions will go away. And a lot of men can perform, and I say it's a performance heterosexually, for a while when they're younger, maybe in their late teens, in their 20s. It becomes more of a burden as they get older and more defined in their sexuality. But they're already in it, so now they're already stuck. And because of a lot of religious beliefs and because of people's narrow-mindedness, it's really tough. I did a show a few months ago. I have my own blog radio show every Sunday night, also Straight Wives Talk Show. But I did someone else's show, and it was a lovely woman who's an author. And I was on there, and it's primarily, minority-oriented, for black women. And the calls that I was getting on there were so sad when women were saying, well, people have a choice in their homosexuality because, God says you can't be doing this. And God makes people perfect, so, people make this choice. I'm just telling you now, this is not a choice. If people could choose, they would choose to be straight. They wouldn't choose to be gay. But it's that narrow-mindedness that keep people in the closet and keep people from being who they are.
I do hear that a lot from gay men who have said that if they did have a choice, they would be gay if that was for them.
Oh, I did a survey one time. This is many years ago, and I used to write for one of the gay newspapers in my earlier career days. And I did a column called Straight Talk about a straight woman's perspective of the gay community. But I did a survey one time, and I asked over close to 400 men, if you could take a pill tomorrow and wake up straight, would you take it? And I think all but 3 people said yes.
Wow.
And it's not, this is how hard it is to live in a society that discriminates against you and makes you feel as if you're unworthy to live. And I think this is part of every fundamental religion, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim. There isn't a religion around that says, it's okay, that you were just born differently. And I think this is the problem. People don't want to be thought of as being deviant, and so they compartmentalize, and they live a double life for many years until they're able to come to terms with it. But in the meantime, they mistreat their wives because they're unhappy being in this place where they really don't belong to start with. They made a mistake, and instead of fixing the mistake, I call it people say it's a mixed marriage. I call it a mismarriage, meaning you made a mistake in getting married, and you can fix it.
So, now you've heard of the term gaydar, correct?
Yes. Do you have any?
Is that right? Now, is that real? Is that something that someone can say, I have a great gaydar, or my gaydar is off, or and if that is real, are there actual signs that a woman should be looking for?
There are definitely signs, and I have this on my website. I have a checklist that women should look at because a lot of women don't have what we call gaydar. I think that's really a mistaken term. You think you have it. Of course, after you've gone with after you get out of a marriage with a gay man, you think every man is gay for the next 10 years. But I always say,
I got a
right ahead,
question.
Dre.
I'm sorry. I got a question. Okay, so the checklist.
Mhm.
Where are they supposed to keep the checklist? Are they got to keep it on their phone? Is there an app for it? I mean, what?
No, it's right on my website at gayhusbands.com. When you go there, its second menu choice is checklist. So you can check right
so
into
are they supposed to like mentally keep this, or are they supposed to like actually literally carry this thing around?
You're supposed to just keep it in your head at all times. But there are things that are common sense, and I'll go through some of them with you if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, if there's a decline of sexual activity early in your marriage that never picks up again, or if he tries to convince you that all relationships have a decline in sex even when you've only been together like for a few years, then that's a problem. Because, Dre, maybe you can just confirm this for me, men like sex. Is that right?
Yeah.
Straight men like sex with women. I mean, gay men like sex with men, but straight men like sex with women. So if you get married and, you have your wife and you're all lovey-dovey, if you stop having sex within a year or 2 years and your husband keeps telling you there's something wrong with you because you keep wanting to have sex, no, there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with him. So a lack of sexual, relationships is a very big red flag. Also, if he's turned off by normal sexual activity and he accuses you of being oversexed, aggressive, or a lot of times they'll say, my ex-husband used to say, I'm a nymphomaniac. And all I wanted to do was have sex a couple times a week. I mean, it wasn't like every day.
Right.
But, this is what they tell you to make you feel like, stop asking. Also, if his sexual performance is more mechanical than passionate with a lack of satisfying foreplay, you'd be really surprised. Well, maybe not, Crystal. Maybe in your past. Did you ever meet a guy who, just didn't want to touch you? Who's
not
like,
really.
Not really? Then you probably never went with a gay man, which is good. But the thing is that with a gay man, he doesn't want to touch you in the places where you want to be touched. He'll mechanically have sex with you, but you never feel like he's not there. Also, if he claims that, he's depressed, and he'll blame his depression or medication for a lack of sexual desire for you. A lot of these guys say, well, I can't do it because I'm depressed. Well, what do you have to be depressed about? You're 32 years old. Sex should make you feel better, not worse.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Right? Also, if you find sexual enhancers like Viagra or Cialis hidden in private hiding places, but he hasn't been having sex with you, he's having sex with someone.
And
another thing.
And I don't want to cut you off, but let's see, Bonnie, that's the thing that I think a lot of women think that he's not gay. He just doesn't want to have sex with me now that he's married to me and he's got me, and he's off having sex with his mistress.
Yeah, well, guess what? He would have been having great sex with you and then stopping. And most of these guys are not great. I'm just telling you now. Women have a gut feeling. I always say to women, trust your instincts.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing of all. Women just, always keep second-guessing themselves, and when they say to their husbands, are you gay? Of course they're going to say no. They're not going to say yes. How do you like that? No, they're not going to say yes. If they're trying to hide it, they're not going to tell you. Another big thing is that if a lot of women see, these gay computer pop-ups come up on their computer, gay porn and stuff, and they say, well, how did it get there? You'd be really shocked that some of these men actually accuse their children of doing it. One guy was
God.
Yeah, I know. They're blaming their kids. Well, we must have a gay son. No, we don't have a gay son. It's your porn. It's like my son wasn't home during the time you're doing this. So they lie about that. A lot of them spend time now, you could say a lot also. Some of these things are also when people are just having outside relationships, as you were saying, Crystal. But you would have had the passion and the excitement there to start with. There are very few of these marriages that have that. I mean, you always know something's off, but you think it's you. A lot of times he feels trapped in the marriage. That's a big word they use, trapped. But they won't explain why. They wanted to marry you. Now they feel trapped. Well, they're trapped because they're not supposed to be there. And also he's having a midlife crisis and becomes moody and depressed. That happens a lot with these. And, here's a big one also. And this is, please don't misunderstand this, but a lot of these guys say they had sexual abuse when they were children. And that's not to negate sexual abuse. A lot of men have sexual abuse in their lives, 1 out of every 6 men. It's a terrible, horrifying thing. But that doesn't make you gay. If your sexual orientation is straight, you'll run away from that. You won't want to run into that. So that's an excuse that a lot of them use. Or a lot of times they'll say they're just looking on the gay porno. Dre, not to put you on the spot, but, are you looking at gay porno?
negative.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Dre.
I mean,
Right.
so I'm saying, that's not something you normally would just look at because you're a guy, right?
Right.
And then they'll say, well, I have issues with my penis size. Can I say that kind of word on here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay,
it's just on the internet. Say whatever you want.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I have issues with my penis size, so I'm just trying to compare myself to other people. Okay, sure you are.
There is no comparison. No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. Like I say, they come up with the most unbelievable stuff, but I'm telling you now that if you're, and also the word bisexual, I don't like to have to sit and debate this, but to me, the penis is the dividing line. Once you cross it, you can call yourself what you want, but you're having gay sex. You may want to call yourself bisexual because it makes you feel better, but I don't see these men looking at female, porno or going out with women. They're going out with men. It makes them feel better to say bisexual because, that sounds more trendy, more acceptable. But, the bottom line is still the bottom line. So that's what I tell women. Don't worry what he calls it. If he's thinking about a penis, fantasizing about it, looking at one, wanting to touch one, or actually doing anything with it, it's called gay.
Oh, wow.
Well, I remember, because I just got to looking at Orange is the New Black. And during the second season, I guess the assistant warden, who's married, female, she's married, and I guess her husband's running for like senator or governor or whatever, and they had this fixed party. And I'm spoiler alert. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to say it. I guess during the party, I guess she goes off to do something and get something out of another room, and she sees her husband with this guy, and they're actually, kissing and stuff like that. So of course she's freaked out. Of course, I mean, so she technically thought was a mistress was more like a Mr. S, but it was just one of those
really
things
good
where.
term. And this is so common. This is the problem, and especially in the black community, where it is such a social stigma, and that's why black women have such a higher rate of HIV.
Okay,
it's not just an accident that by chance. It's because their husbands are out there having sex with men, and because of the social stigma, they bring that home to their wives. And that's the greatest danger.
We do have a caller on hold, and I want to bring her on.
Okay.
Hello, is this Amy? Hello, caller. You're on the Crystal Show.
Don't be shy.
All right, well, maybe...
Crystal?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my phone is messed up, and I couldn't get the mute button off.
Happens to me all the time. You hear the topic? Do you have a question for our guest, Bonnie?
Yeah, you said that once you have sex with a man, when a man has sex with a man, there's a line that's crossed, and once that penis line's crossed, then you're not bisexual, you're having gay sex. Okay. I don't know how familiar you are with Kendra Wilkinson and her husband Hank Baskett.
Oh yeah.
They are reality stars, and Hank Baskett is a former NFL player. The controversy that he cheated on his wife, Kendra, with a transsexual, not a transgender, but a transsexual, a male-female body, but still has the man part, and wants to keep the man part, has no desire to change that, but one of the biggest reasons why they wanted to change is because there's so much gay bashing in the world. Anyway, if you're a man and you're attracted to a woman, you're attracted to a woman. If you're attracted to a man, then you're attracted to a man. So be it. What I don't understand is a man being attracted to someone who looks like a woman but still has their man part, and they're married with 2 children. As a matter of fact, just had a brand new baby.
Right. Well, this is the perfect setup for a lot of. This is the perfect setup for a lot of men who don't want to, admit to their homosexuality. Because I always say, it doesn't matter how you dress up a penis. You can put a dress on it, a little hat on it. But once again, it is what it is. If you want that penis, you want something that's a piece of gay. I don't care that it looks like a woman. If it makes you feel better thinking that you are with a woman, but the bottom line is always the bottom line for me.
Okay. I totally love that. Penis hats. Do they sell those anywhere? That is so cool.
I used to get one for my boyfriend, a little hat. Yeah. Decorate them for the holidays, little outfits.
Oh, God.
Thinking about starting a business for penis hats. But, my point is that it doesn't matter how you dress the penis up and what's behind it. It may look like a woman, and, a lot of men have that fetish of transsexuals.
Right.
And some of these transsexuals are beautiful. They're more beautiful than I'll ever be on the outside, but I don't have the penis. So it's still a man.
So what if a man is in a club and he sees a woman that he thinks is a woman, and he finds out later, when he's exploring more, that it's a man?
Those people have gotten killed for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, is it, would you say that maybe this guy, just because he was attracted, to this, drag queen or actual transsexual, was that someone who was actually gay?
Yeah. If you want to have sex with a penis, I call it gay. Now, that's me. I'm very black and white on this issue.
Okay.
Namely because so many men try to get out of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest. Would you feel any better that your boyfriend, or your husband, was having a wonderful time with you and he cheated on you with somebody with a penis, and then he said to you, well, it's not the same because it's not really a woman? I mean, and it looks like a woman, but does it make it any different?
Right.
Doesn't make me feel any better.
That's crazy.
What would you do, Dre? Dre, if you were in that situation, what would you do?
Yeah, what would you do, Dre?
If my wife was messing around with a woman?
No.
No, let's take your wife out of the equation, like before you got married. Mm-hmm. If you were dating and you saw somebody beautiful, and then you went out with them and you started fooling around and there's something down there, how would you react?
After the vomit?
Yeah, after that. No,
yeah,
but you'd be upset, right?
I would be totally disgusted and totally sick. And again, I'm not bashing the gay community whatsoever, so please don't get it twisted.
I'm very pro-gay. Look, I had a daughter who was a lesbian, and I say was because unfortunately she passed away at 22. But, she was proud of who she was. I do believe gay is genetic and predisposed.
Okay.
I never see it just by itself. You look around, there's somebody in the family who has it, and it's genetically, passed down. So I'm very pro-gay. I'm just not pro-marrying somebody who's straight when you're gay.
Now, Q, who is in our chat room, says that he would react violently more than likely if he was in that situation. And unfortunately, a lot of males would react violently to a lot of hate crime that goes on. And what can a woman do if she finds herself in a situation, she's married, she finds out, okay, my husband finally come out to me to say that he is actually gay, they have children. I mean, what do they do with this woman? Is there any way to save such a marriage?
No, there's not. First of all, let me say this. These are marriages that are not meant to be. It was a mistake. You went into it with good intentions. You were hoping those feelings would go away. But in time, I work a lot with gay men and their issues on coming out. I have gay men writing to me every day.
Okay.
And I do counseling with them on how to leave their marriages the right way. Don't sit there and torture your wife for years, which a lot of them do. Be honest. Let her know. It's like, I don't know if you've ever done a jigsaw puzzle.
Yes.
But if you've ever done like a 500, piece puzzle and one piece is missing and you can't figure out what it is, how you go crazy? Well, it's the same thing with this. You know there's something wrong in your marriage, but your husband's not being honest. There's something, always he's blaming you for everything, even though you've done, if you would see the women in my group, it's like so amazing. They're beautiful women who are doctors, lawyers, secretaries, from every spectrum of life. I have 2 women who are celebrities in the group, visual people on television, models. It's amazing women who have this common bond of just being kind, compassionate, nurturing women, which is what these guys look for. And that's because they're always afraid if their secret comes out that at least they'll have someone who will be understanding or take care of them.
Now, do you feel there's a common thread to these women for choosing this man?
Oh, yeah. About 90% of us are in the helping profession. We're teachers, we're counselors, we're nurses, we're doctors. We're helping everybody all the time. And they gravitate to us because they're looking for someone who can help them. First, they're hoping that if they love us enough, we can, quote, fix them. Gay is not something broken. Gay is who you are as a person, and that's what I tell my men. It's not a matter that you had a choice. If you'd have a choice, you would choose your wife. The fact that you can't do it and the fact that you just want men means you're gay. And a lot of women really don't understand this either. They think they're willing to give up with their whole family for sex. It's not about sex. It's who a person is as a person. We're all born differently. And one thing is, you can pretend for a while, but put yourself in their position. If we were living in a world where straight wasn't the way to be, you had to be gay, how hard would it be for us to act like we're gay every day?
Right.
It would take a lot of energy, and we'd always resent the person. We'd be doing the same thing that they're doing to us. I always tell women, would you want to be with a woman? Nothing against being gay, but you could love your best friend, but would you want to make love to your best friend? And the answer, if you're a straight woman, you don't want to do that. It's just not how you're built. It's not how your psyche is. And it's not how theirs is either. So they have to stay in a situation where they don't belong. And what happens is that love turns to hatred and resentment because these guys feel stuck. And I tell women, look, why try to make something work that's not workable? Go out, find yourself a new relationship, and find someone who's compatible for you.
Well, I know I want to say thank you so much, Bonnie, for coming on to the show. And
it's my pleasure.
You have so much, you give so many people, just even those who are not necessarily in the situation, but could possibly find themselves, or they have friends who are gay, who are trying to find themselves to come out, or, to have real relationships. Now, we can find you, your books. You have, 6 books that are out currently?
Yeah, 6 or 7 books, maybe 8. But, they all deal with this except for my one book, which is really important for every woman to read, not necessarily related to this. And it's called Man Readers, A Woman's Guide to Dysfunctional Men.
I totally need that. I need that, Bonnie.
You're not in, and Dre, you're not in there, so don't worry. But this is like a Crystal, I'll be happy to send you a copy if you send me your address. This is a book that really tells women what to look out for because of the fact that we are vulnerable. And there's so many guys out there who are predators. And when you're a giving woman, you have taking men who are looking for you. And it doesn't have to be gay. It could be any kind of predator. So it's really important to be able to check out a guy, know what to look for, and how to walk away from broken men. Because one of my mantras is you can't fix a broken man, but he can break you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, my God.
So, guys, thank you so much for having me on your show. It was a pleasure.
No,
thanks for coming on there. This is wonderful. Great topic.
Thanks. And if you ever want me back, just give me a ring, and I'll send you the book, Crystal, if you send me your address.
All right, thank you, because I definitely need it. Oh, my God.
All right, guys. It was a pleasure talking to you.
All right.
Have a great night.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Okay, Bonnie Kaye.